Studio 12 live on this Wednesday from Kyle Field. I'm Will Johnson alongside Matt Simon, and Coaches Co-Host Month continues. This time drawing the short end is our head football coach, Kevin Sumlin. He's got a busy schedule, but we thank him for coming and basically wasting an hour of his life here on Studio 12 Live.
Well, I think if he had known this was part of the gig, he might not be here right now.
We're not exactly selling this that well, are we?
We're good.
You got a lot to do.
Yeah, well, it's lunchtime. We got our coaches are out all over the place. Spring recruiting. We've got a couple guys back here just making phone calls, doing some video conferencing, just trying to talk about new offers that are out there, guys that we've evaluated, and then really trying to get some closure on some guys that we've offered early in the process. And, I think, here towards the end of the month, you're going to see as guys get through every college is out spring recruiting right now, but towards the end of the month, after everybody goes through, I think you're going to see some guys start to jump in the boat at different places, and hopefully, we're going to be part of that process.
Do you get a little lonely?
Huh?
All these coaches gone?
No, heck no. We're on the phone. We got iPads. We got Skype. We got all kinds of things going on, and that's all part of it. They took the head coaches off the road a long time ago in the spring, which I think is a mistake. There were some guys that didn't want to go out and recruit, and they probably there were probably more of those guys than guys like me or a couple other guys that would like to be out there. But that's all part of it, and we've got a great staff that does a good job. And for us and for me, there's a lot of different things that are getting done right now. We're just finishing up with finals. Our players really have the next till we'll have another team meeting June 1st. That Sunday evening to start summer school, which will be June 2nd. So, it's in between time right now for our team, and for me, it gives me an opportunity to get out and talk to different groups about fundraising and do some other things in the state and nationally. And with the draft being moved back last week, we didn't miss a bunch being in New York and getting up to Dallas yesterday with shaking some hands and right before the Byron Nelson and getting around to some of our other groups and talking about some things with the 12th Man Foundation and fundraising. It's a good time for me to get a bunch of that stuff done.
Would this be as close to what you would consider as close as you can get to downtime at this time of year for you as a coach?
No,
because it never stops.
No,
does it?
There's a lot of travel involved right now, just because of, like I said, I don't know if people know this or not. We've got a pretty good sized project going on out there from a fundraising standpoint, and the 12th Man Foundation does a great job. But we try to stay. I try to stay. All our coaches try to stay connected, with our former students and particularly in fundraising. And this time of year is with coaches, the head coaches being off the road is a good time to do that. It's not as convenient. Most universities have their coaches' nights this time of year because the head coaches are available more so when students are gone. Traditionally here it's been in the summer, and there's a lot of things that have changed from a recruiting calendar standpoint that over the course of time, people have to understand, how the calendar has changed and how things change over time. That the convenience and the excitement that builds the football season with, head coaches traveling June and July, that's just not the case anymore. That this time of year is when those things happen across the South and in the SEC. And all of our 85 scholarship players will be on campus starting June 2nd. That used to not be the case.
Yeah.
And from June all the way through, and particularly this year, where we'll have our first fall camp meeting. I just looked at we've done the calendar for practices and our practice plans and everything for fall camp and 2-a-day schedule, but it's just amazing. July 31st, we have our first meeting as a team, and August 1st is our first practice. So, the old days of, hey, let's get coach to come over here and talk to us. We're playing, and you can't be everywhere at one time, and so this time of year, you've got to utilize some things, and I don't think people understand, what the logistics of that are now as compared to 10, 15 years ago when, we didn't have everybody in summer school. Incoming freshmen came to fall camp, and guys just got in shape during fall camp, and July was the time where everybody took time off. Well, now, our guys, the conditioning aspect goes from June and July. We're practicing football in August. Everybody's here, and it's become a year-round job. And so, I think over time, people got to understand that the calendar is going to change a little bit, and that's just the way things are working out right now.
Kevin Sumlin with us the entire hour here on Studio 12 Live. And those dates of July 31st and August 1st, they'll be here quickly. It all moves fast. Then August 28th will be your opener at South Carolina. So let's talk about this 2014 version of the Aggies. And you've been very clear since you've got here that depth needs to continue to develop on the defensive side of the ball to get it to where you feel it needs to be to compete in the SEC. Defensively, how close are you depth-wise?
Well, I'd say this, that depth has to continue across the board. You look back last Thursday night, that was a great night for Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
We got 3 guys drafted in the first round. But those are only 3 guys drafted. That's it. That seems like a large number. Out of the 14 teams, the average was 3.5. LSU had 9 guys drafted. Mm-hmm. Alabama had 8 guys drafted. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame had 8 guys drafted. So we've got a ways to go to catch up. Everybody talks about our talent level. Yes, we've got talented players. We don't have the depth, and that's what recruiting has been about. You look at across the board where we were with 9, 8, the number of programs with 5, 4. We had the same amount of players drafted as Tennessee and Vanderbilt. So, until we get this program to a point where, every day there's a guy getting drafted, that 3 days of the draft process, and depth-wise, we're still playing catch-up. And that's not just offensively, defensively, special teams-wise. That's where we are. We have talented players, yes. Do we have enough depth? We'll see. We've signed over 50 players in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So, you don't have that type of a situation if there aren't holes in your roster, and we're not over-signing. 2 years ago we signed 32 guys, lost 1 to Major League Baseball, mm-hmm. and still we're under our 85 limit. We had huge holes in the roster, which we've tried to address, which we've tried to fix. A number of young guys who've had to play, particularly defensively. And, what I say is, it's hard to evaluate our defensive line right now because of the number of guys that miss spring football. With Deshaun Hall out with the shoulder, Jay Arnold, Gavin Stansberry, all guys that were playing, in the last football game, we had, surgeries and shoulder situations, things that needed to be fixed, could have gotten fixed in the regular part of the season, but guys continued to play, and I look for them to come back and be really healthy and have an impact, along with our recruiting class. We signed the best defensive end in the country, rated out of high school, and Quaylen Cunningham, who is another tremendous pass rusher from Phoenix. Those guys are going to have an impact. And I think where we did make strides, I thought Jordan Master-Giovanni had a really, really good spring, and that's going to be critical for us to get some leadership and some direction in the middle of the field on our defense, and I think he provided that and made some strides this spring and took advantage of his opportunity.
You also talk often about how these off-season workouts the guys are doing with Larry Jackson will factor into these competitions, and you've got more competition than just trying to find a starting quarterback, but think of Kyle Allen and Kenny Hill when you meet with them July 31st and August 1st and on into those first few practices of August camp. What will be an indicator to you on the amount of work they've put in during off season?
It won't be August 1st. You know, we'll go through the process and you know, see where they are over the course of, you know, the first week or so. And there are a lot of things that go into playing quarterback. You know, we've had situations here and at Houston, at Oklahoma, at Purdue, where you know, on and on and on, where they're guys that physically may be a better quarterback, but being just because you're the best guy on paper can throw it the hardest or throw it the furthest, unlike in Little League, that doesn't make you the best quarterback. You know, you got a lot of things you got to take care of, and being able to handle situations and, you know, ball security, you know, being able to manage the game and handle the moment, and we put guys in those types of positions. And so, you know, the good news about it is with the new NCAA rule, we have an opportunity to meet with these guys and during the summer for the first time, which is going to increase, just like the summer bridge program, allowing freshmen that had just graduated in May or June for us to pay for summer school before their freshman year, has increased the number of not only freshmen playing, but the number of underclassmen coming out and declaring for the draft. This new rule is going to really speed up the growth of young players, because now you can meet with them really up to a couple hours a week and go through video and have a structured process for installation. Like for us, you know, we're going to go through the same basic installation process with our incoming freshmen, and starting, you know, that 2nd of June in meetings that we're going to go through during fall camp. And so the opportunity to hear that, you know, not once or twice in fall camp, you know, before you get ready to play, but, you know, once, twice, 3, maybe 4 times in the summer. It gives young guys a great opportunity to learn the offense, learn the defense, understand schemes, understand what we're trying to do, and then go out on their own and execute it, you know, on their own. So, you know, I think it's been a great rule. It gives us an opportunity as coaches, because we have a lot of, you know, different situations in the summertime where we couldn't really talk to guys, couldn't talk to them about personal life, couldn't really talk to them about their athletic life, you know, and this new rule gives us an opportunity to really reach the young guys and right when they get on campus, and really give them the best opportunity to get on the field early.
You're always the one that has to get questions from Will. You know, we need to fire some of him later on in the show, Coach.
No,
maybe
he's all right. He's pretty good at what he does. I give him a hard time, but he puts up with me.
He's one of the few that think so.
Win or lose after games, you know, the bus is waiting on us, and we do shows right after that. That becomes that's not my favorite time to do them, but I still try to smile, and
that's your game day tradition.
Well,
yeah, that is.
You've won 20 of the 26. It's easier to smile most of the time.
Yeah, but there's always that guy, because you like to do them in the stadium in the corner. There's always still that guy that's still sitting there, that's got his own opinion about how things should go.
The first SEC road game we ever had was Ole Miss, the comeback, the first one. I think you had left, and we were tearing down equipment. And we had I guess you would call him a hotty-toddy supporter that had a few mini-totties. He at least waited for you to leave to give us the choice words as we walked off.
They usually don't wait for me to leave.
Usually it's aimed at you.
Yeah, I tell you what, this league is fabulous. You know, the passion of the fans, it's just so different. You know, when you leave the hotel, it's just a little bit different because of the smaller towns. You know, there's nowhere really in town to stay. So the travel is a lot different than it is in a lot of other leagues. You know, we get there, we may be an hour away from the stadium, because every hotel in those little bitty towns is booked, or at least they tell us that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, we got to get on the bus and then ride another hour before you get to the stadium, and the closer you get to the venue, you know, it just picks up, and then right around it is just you know, it's hard to be matched. You know, game day in the SEC is about as big time as it gets, and it is as big time as it gets in college football, and the pageantry and the as I said, the passion. You know, it's just people care, and football is a part of the collegiate experience, not just for the student athletes, but for the students on campus and their alumni, and they're very, very, very proud of that. So you go into some stadiums, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily hostile. I would say that they're excited about their own team, and they want to let you know that they really don't want you to get a yard or win at all. They like to beat you as by as many points as they can, and that's okay. I think it's great to go to these places and just see the fans, and at kickoff kind of look around and say, wow, these people care. They care about their team, and it's just like when we're at Kyle Field, people come in, they say, wow, the same way, and that's why I think we've been a great fit for the league, and I get a lot of compliments, from opposing administrations, and just about how great our place is, because people have only seen it on television, and that's a compliment to our fans, and our game day atmosphere, and when we go other places, I think our fans have been shocked, when they let that eagle loose at Auburn.
I've got my own story about that one.
Will almost left.
Will
was like, oh, man.
Well, they were 1-6 when we went there 2 years ago. You guys hung 42 on them in the first half.
But it was packed.
Well, they fly the eagle around before the game, and I looked over at somebody and said, we're not winning. They're going to crush us.
Yeah, you go to these places, and Bear Bryant starts talking in Tuscaloosa before the game, and, there's a lot of things going on in the Grove at Ole Miss. Everywhere's got their own kind of signature deal, and cowbells at Mississippi State, and
you got your own story about that.
Yeah,
not from your A&M days.
But when you get there, everybody says, well, what's the difference? And we have great, passionate fans at Cal Field, and wherever we go, it's been that way, and I think our fans have, first of all, have really enjoyed it. The road trips, and it's been exciting, and it's not going to change anytime soon, opening at South Carolina, and for our fans who've never been there, seen their opening and their introduction, it's spectacular, and that place will be rocking for the first, really the first college football game of the year, and being on national TV on the kick off the SEC network, that's a big deal for us moving forward, and from an exposure standpoint, but also tells you, ranking wise, I would be shocked if South Carolina won't be preseason ranked in the top 10, and so they'll be playing for a lot. Coach Spurrier's done a great job there and continues to do a great job.
With you talk about the game day atmosphere. With you having to move offices for a couple of weeks, you get a look at that stadium at Kyle Field every day that you come in. One, how incredible is it to you to see them move as quick as they are and to fill that bowl in the South? And two, how excited are you to see it filled up with Aggies for that Lamar opener?
Yeah, it'll be a special time. First of all, the office move has been great. Nobody knows where I am, so they can't find me right now. And I told a couple of people today, I said, I'm going to keep this spot even during the season, so no one will. But it's been good. I've been able to watch it, and then traveling around, you leave for a couple of days, and you see other things go up, and it's fantastic. It's very, very special to me, just because, I was thinking about this the other day. For me to be able to really be here at Texas A&M at this time, and be able to be the head coach here for the first SEC football game, and then to be here as a stadium really changes forever, is kind of neat, and I think our players understand that. It's really a different time, but also a special time to be here at Texas A&M, and this year when that stadium, when we open, it's going to be something else, and then 2 years from now, when it's completed, it will be even more spectacular. So just to be here during this time is a big deal. But for our current guys, it gives you energy, even though we're kind of displaced. Nobody's complaining. They're dragging. Those are some pretty big steel beams they're bringing over Bright, and they say, "Coach, y'all need to get out of here in case something happens." We didn't ask them twice about it.
Okay,
it's okay. We're
Yeah.
moving. But in order to get this thing done, there's been a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, but from donors, a lot of people moving out of place. We've got temporary locker rooms. We've tried to do a lot when the majority of players were away. But when they get back here, we'll still be working. So we're in a temporary locker room situation. We'll get back into Bright, try to get a little bit of everything back to normal. Where the nutrition center, the R.C. Slocum Nutrition Center, will be back up and running in the summer. So yeah, it's been a little bit different. But as the players, we served them everything, and from the infrastructure underneath the end zone project with the new locker rooms, the new training facilities, things like that. So everybody gets it, and it's all going to be not only better, it's going to be it'll be one of the top 5 facilities underneath infrastructure-wise in the country, and that our stadium will be second to none.
And before we go to break, I just wanted to ask you, we were talking about the SEC, and the hot-button topic lately with the league was the 8 or the 9-game schedule. You've already spoken about what went into your thinking as far as your vote and decision, but let me ask you this. Some of these other conferences kind of tout, hey, we play 9, but can the SEC combat that with saying our 8 is probably tougher than most of your 9 when it comes within conference play?
How many national championships and championship games have we been in the last few years?
All 8 of the last 8.
Well, there you go. I mean, so what's going to change? Everybody recognizes that we play a very, very competitive league. Play in a very, very competitive league with our schedule. And I at first I was a 6'2" rotational guy. Just coming from being in a league that it came from, where over the course of time, when you play 2 teams from the other side of the league and you rotate that, you get to see everybody. Mm-hmm. And over the course of time, that balances out the schedule. Some teams will be good some years, some teams they won't. And I think for the experience of the student athlete to be able to see everywhere, in 4 years, a guy would see more campuses than he would with just a one crossover team. So that's all part of it. Now, over the course of time, I began to learn about traditional rivalries and listening to other coaches and ADs talk about Tennessee, Alabama, and you don't understand what the fans. There's guys that they live for that game, mm-hmm. and they've gone to that game, since they were little kids, and part of the what you don't want to lose is the tradition that's made the SEC what it is. And so the passion of those fans for those types of games was a big deal. And for us being new into the league, we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt like for me to step out there and say, oh, well, let's just do that, it didn't make sense, because in our shoes, we didn't have that kind of traditional mm-hmm. rivalry. So I got that, and I think for the good of the league, what has happened. We've got the crossover opponent. For us, quite frankly, it's tough. I mean, we've got a Carolina program, South Carolina program that's a top 10 program in the country right now. And, to kick it off with them, and then we're going to end every year with LSU. So,
good bookends.
If anybody should be complaining, it's me. But I get it. And I think for our fans and for where we are, for the LSU game now to be really the marquee football game, college football game, Thanksgiving, the holiday weekend, is going to be a big deal for for our fans, for their fans, for this region, and for the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Sumlin's still with us. He didn't take off during the break. He's got about another 20 minutes or so to go.
He hadn't seen you in a month or two.
You guys could have brought some
That's
food.
been like a vacation.
See, that's what I've been trying
we
to talk to
we
him.
thought about catering this show.
Man, come on.
Well, the topic was going to go
12
to food at some point. Matt
Yeah.
Simon can't sit here with a guest without bringing up food.
You were supposed to work on a food sponsor. We
hadn't landed it yet.
I don't think you're working hard enough.
12 to 1.
Maybe
You're
with
asking
Coach,
a lot out of people.
That's
maybe
what I'm
with
saying.
Coach Sumlin coming on, ratings will spike, and that'll help us sell a sponsor. Go from 5 to 10 listeners.
Yeah, but then they know that we're on the air, and then it's game over.
That's
Exactly.
No that's no good. And we always do that segment that's on the video board at Kyle Field. We call it Ask the Aggies, and we get your players in here, just off-the-wall questions. One of them we ask is if you had to pick a last meal, one more dinner, what would they pick to eat? Well, that question to you. Favorite food?
I don't know. I eat a lot of different stuff. You know?
You're versatile?
Well, I was in New York. I think all I ate was we had great Italian, and I think we tried to eat every steak that was left there in a couple days. But you know, I'm pretty versatile. I'm not real picky, so you know, hopefully, I never have a last meal that I know of.
Well,
exactly.
I don't have to plan for that. That's my plan right now.
I guess it's a different way of asking your favorite food. I mean,
Will's all
posing
gone.
it to him as your last
Will's
meal.
gone all
I
drama.
like that Dead Man Walking deal. Is that what you're
Yeah,
giving
well,
me?
we're not going there. We're not going there.
Wow,
That's not what we're dealing with here.
All you had to say was favorite food.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say.
I know, but it's posed to the players, and that feature is
yeah,
last
it's
meal.
you know, and then
Those guys will eat anything, man.
Yeah, they will. I look up there and people just laugh at them on the jumbotron. So
Yeah.
I'm going to skip this question.
They
How's
also do impersonations.
I know they
which
do.
I don't know if there's one you can do.
There's
Everybody does Terry Price.
greatest form of flattery, I guess, is what they say.
So,
That's what the players.
So Terry Price should be pretty
It
flattered.
should be pretty flattered. Pretty flattered. They love doing Coach Price.
Has he ever catch your attention on the practice field when you may be over on one field, but you just hear him and it's disruptive
Oh yeah,
all the way across
he
the
does
way.
a great job. I tell you, you know, in recruiting and with our guys, you know, coaching on and off the field. I mean, he's you know, he's an Aggie, and he cares a great deal, and not just about developing players football-wise, but you can tell all his players can tell he cares a great deal about them personally, and he does. That shows up in recruiting with the relationships with families when they get here and when they have an opportunity to visit. And he's been extremely instrumental in our recruiting process of a lot of really, really good players in just a short period of time. And I was happy, you know, I'm happy he's here. He had just gotten to Lubbock with Texas Tech and another coach who used to be here that was the head coach at the time, and that's kind of a funny story. I called him and he says, "Coach, I just got here. And I was with Coach Tupperville at Auburn. I was with him at Ole Miss. Been with him for a while." And I said, "Well, you're an Aggie, you know. What does that mean to you?" He said, "It means a lot." And he said, "But loyalty's something. My wife, you know, we've been there a long time." And I said, "Well, where you at?" And he said, "I'm in Lubbock." He said, I said, "You are?" And I just so happened I knew what the weather situation was. I said, "Take Miss Kenya, your wife, over to the window. Y'all look out the window and tell me what you see." And at the time, it was snowing sideways in Lubbock.
Had to be either that or sand.
And yeah, they were coming, and I said, "Now what do you think? Why don't you come up here? Because I'm looking out the window. It's pretty nice out here, sun's shining." He said, "Well, I'll call you back." And we got him on a plane the next day, got him up here, and wouldn't let him go back. And he's been here ever since, doing a great job.
No, but now he lengthened that story you just told at a banquet here not long ago, talking about his hiring process when you brought him on, and he got off the phone with you.
Mm-hmm.
He called. He told his wife.
Right. talk to his parents.
Look, I'm going to go think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You go pack for College Station while I go think about this. That's what he told his wife. So.
Well, I go think about it.
Yeah, that was his thinking process. Let her get the head start on packing.
I just got an answer to your question about what was the question about food?
Oh, yeah, favorite meal,
Yeah,
although I posed it horribly.
Yeah.
I just got my wife just texted me and says the correct answer is equals anything my wife makes.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's correct. Good answer.
There's the winner.
There's the
And you're not arguing that?
I'm not. There you go. Anything my wife makes. How's that?
Well, sure. What's the best thing she cooks?
Well, all kinds of
Hey,
stuff.
all right.
You put him on the spot,
versatility
Will. You
there.
kill him.
Anything my wife makes. I'm going with that right now.
That's good. That's good. Guy didn't get to the top for nothing.
You talk about family. I know how important family is to you, both personally and as a team, as a professional. First off, I know you get to take your son on the trips. How much fun is that for you to have him with you on the road, to be around the team? And then second, this draft that just happened, to see the three guys celebrate with their families, the people that meant a lot to them, and to realize their dream. How much, how special was that for you as a moment?
Yeah, we've, over the course of the last 6 years of being a head coach, I've had the opportunity to take, my oldest daughter has gone to some games, and Jackson has gone, my oldest son. But those windows close quickly, and what you find out as a parent is, as the teenage years come, the time to be able to do that, to take off on Friday and leave school and do all that. As they get older, they may want to do it, but they're involved in theater, they're involved in volleyball, they're involved in their own sports and through their own teams and activities. So it becomes the opportunities to do that become less and less. So those have been great memories for hopefully for our kids, but for me too, for them to be a part of. You look up at that Chick-fil-A bowl, and all my family's. We flop down and take that picture, and I'm making sure people are getting around. I look up, and Jackson's right in the middle of the team. But that might be a little bit too much, but he feels comfortable around everybody. That's great. But people ask me, why do you go to the draft? Is that a big deal? Is it a big deal for recruiting? Yeah, it is. But to me, it's a chance to really show some appreciation for guys who have accomplished a lot at the collegiate level. People don't really realize, I think, what the tension level is in that green room. Extremely quiet, a lot of things at stake, a lot of hard work, and it's not up to you. You're just waiting for the phone to ring, and that becomes a real sensitive area. So, when that happens, the ability to shake hands with a Jake Matthews and his family, who have put in a lot of work, and or a guy like you can see the emotion that comes out of Mike Evans, who is one of the toughest guys that may have played here, and you can see just that outpouring of emotion is incredible. And to be there for that, and for Johnny, and his family, to say, hey, congratulations, and wish them luck with the next chapter of their life I think is important, and to say, hey, we appreciate what you've done for us in our program at Texas A&M, and want to wish you luck in the next chapter. I think it's important to be there, and that's why I bring the assistant coaches who coach that position, because on a day-to-day basis, there's a whole lot of work that goes into it. People see Saturday, but Monday through Friday, there are all kind of things that happen. There's personal problems, there's problems at home, there's all kinds of things. There's class, there's logistics, and a lot of things that never get talked about publicly, and that's where the family aspect comes into it. And you've heard me talk about it before. There's things that happen inside a program that is not and should not be everybody's business. Mm-hmm. And I think social media has moved in a direction where people think it's their right know what's going on. And like I said, just like in most families, you look up and down your street, everything looks great. But everybody's got, in their family, it's not everybody's business what goes on inside your house. And how you manage that should be up to you. And because of that, I think our players trust us. I think our administration understands the direction we're headed and how we do things. And I think that's why, we were able to come into a situation with guys that we hadn't recruited and gain their trust. And most times, it can be more difficult in that situation than actually coaching the guys that you've recruited who are seniors, who understand how you do things, what to do, because that senior class, as I said before, the year before, I'm forever indebted to them just because, they went through a complete change, a complete cycle of they came here, they didn't know they were going to be playing at Alabama or at Auburn in a different league. They didn't know they were going to have a new coach, a new coaching staff, new offense, defense, all that stuff sprung on them on their last year of eligibility. And for our coaching staff to get in and really, earn their trust, and those guys to be able to say, okay, eventually, hey, let's go with it, and to really set the bar for this program going forward. That was a huge step for our coaching staff, but also a huge step for this program. And as things go on, that group of guys really, as I said, they have the right to come back and cheer or complain about things, and because they really set the standard right off the bat when people thought they had no chance.
Yeah.
All right, just a few more minutes to go with Coach Sumlin on this Wednesday, Studio 12 live, and we're trying to throw out everything at the break here. And I got a question into you right before we came back, but an Indiana native, and you are following these NBA playoffs.
Oh, how about that, huh? Every time you think the Pacers are done, they play like the team that they're supposed to be, and then when you get excited about them, they play like they're done. So at home, so that was awful the other night. I can say that. Every now and then, people know here when I'm a Rockets fan, and so now that they're done, I can put back on my Pacer stuff. But
yeah. That was a gut-wrenching series for the Rockets.
Yeah.
That was hard to swallow those losses.
But has there ever been, I know that when I was growing up, when it was a Lakers-Boston type situation in Detroit. And by the way, that 30 for 30 is the best one I've ever seen.
Which,
Bad Boys.
The Bad Boys?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I sat down and made all my kids watch it.
Did you hate the Pistons then?
Yes, and Bill Laimbeer in particular.
Yeah.
But I came to respect Bill Laimbeer after watching that, and understood, and really, if you watch that, you'll see what a team is all about, and how he projected himself into the team as a leader, but also saw it as Isaiah's team, but him as kind of, hey, when guys came to the organization, here's how we do things. And there's two types of leaders. There's that guy who is not the leader necessarily on the floor of the court, but the leader in the locker room and away from there, and then the guy in the game. And there can only be one of those. And so it was a really interesting dynamic with Chuck Daly and how they did things. I got off on something there that now, you're looking at NBA playoffs for every game.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that thing last night was ridiculous.
That's getting like the NCAA
But they
tournament.
can't find me.
Madness.
Can the NBA find me for saying something bad about
No.
the officiating? Because I'll just put it this way: I agree with Doc. That was.
Oh boy, he said it, didn't he?
They're gonna find.
He
him a
didn't
whole
hold
lot
back.
more.
He's getting fined.
Yeah, but all that being said, that was the worst basketball I've seen in a long time in the last 2 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
And you add the call onto it. That just. A coach, he was frustrated, and that was just maybe the most bizarre set of events that happened in a real long time. But we've seen a bunch of that in the NBA here in the last 2 weeks of just great games and last-minute shots, and I don't know that there's ever been a time like this.
Yeah. It's almost like that March Madness in the
When
NCAA
were you a
tournament,
Rockets fan, Will? I've never heard you mention the
I didn't say I
Rockets.
was a Rockets fan. I just said it was a gut-wrenching series to watch. I root for Houston teams in general. That's where I grew up closest
You root for
to,
whoever's
and-
got the
but
best record is what you got.
No, I used to. I used to do that. I was the kid that grew up and hated the Cowboys just because everybody liked them.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
I was the anti. I was the jerk.
Yeah, you're one of those guys.
Yeah. So-
It doesn't surprise you, does it?
No.
No.
But I lean toward Houston teams just because I grew up near there. But, I mean, I wasn't necessarily rooting for the Rockets. I did follow it, and, man, that was hard to watch. 2 overtime losses and the one at the buzzer. But and we're pretty much at the buzzer on this show.
He's
aren't we?
excited now. He can
Yeah.
go eat. You didn't
can
bring him
go
food,
eat.
Will.
He can go eat.
You didn't bring him food,
Mm.
or me for that matter. But he's more
Well, I
important.
told Beatty when he came on I'd give him a gift card of whatever I've got in my wallet. I can give Coach Sumlin that.
No, we're all right. I appreciate it.
He's like, pass.
That means I got to come back.
That's right. Exactly.
He doesn't want to owe us anything.
No,
I
I'm
guarantee
good.
you that.
It's all right.
Well, we appreciate the time. The hour flew by for us, even though it may not have for you.
No, it was good, guys. I appreciate it. And like I said, this time of year is a good time. And, you know, it's kind of relaxed right now before we get things kicked off this summer. And, you know, we'll get this thing rolling this summer and get back together for fall practice starting. Really, it seems like fall, but it'll be
July.
August, July 31st.
Exactly.
So,
All right.
All right, that's Coach Sumlin. We'll wrap it up right here on Studio 12 Live, and we'll see you on Friday. So long, everybody, on Sports Radio 1150 The Zone.